And then let's see what happens.
See who's coming in on a Friday afternoon for me, still Friday morning for you. So
Yeah, on a Friday.
we're in the end cap of the day time zones here.
Exactly. The different ends of the spectrum. Can we even?
Oh, I see LaPora in the attendees. If you want to promote her to join us on the on our side.
Okay, incredible. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. Promote to panelists, and I see people hopping on. Welcome, everyone. So great to see you. Thank you for joining us today on Friday.
Hi, LaPora. Welcome.
Yeah, LaPora is here. Fantastic.
Hello, hello.
Hi, happy Friday. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, beautiful. Gonna kind of give everyone a minute to just get on and get settled, and then we will begin.
I'm actually having a little bit of a fangirl LinkedIn fame moment because LaPora, I've followed you for so long and your content's amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to talk with her today on a panel.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Erica. Thank you.
Yes, I second that. Like we met on LinkedIn, and I so appreciate your content and your consistency and your messaging. It's so impactful. And I'm super excited to be able to share that with our community today. So thank you.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and start. For anyone who doesn't know, my name is Maya-Lin. I am the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator here at Instant Teams. And today we have our special guest, LaPora Lindsey, and we're going to have a conversation about self-worth and impact. And in a minute, I'm going to pass it over to LaPora. She's going to give you an intro about who she is and the incredible work that she's doing right now. But before we go into that, I want to briefly touch on the agenda for today, and then I'm going to pass it to Erica, who's going to go over some announcements. So we will do announcements, intro. We're going to have a Q&A session with LaPora. And then at the end, we're going to have a survey, and we're going to open it up to you, our community, to ask LaPora any questions that you have about whatever we touched on today. And this will be a great conversational, just getting to know you and sharing insights and about self-worth and impact. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Erica first.
Thank you, Maya-Lin. Again, LaPora, super excited to have you here with us today. Before we hop in, I do think it is important, as a remote culture, being on calls like this, it's a neat opportunity to have some collective time. And I do want to do something a little bit out of the ordinary and pause for a minute and actually ask for a moment of silence, really for two different reasons. One being we're headed into Memorial Day as a military-focused community. We all have very personal stories and connections to those who have lost their life fighting for the country. So I want to take just a brief moment in respect to that. But I've also seen, the community in our workspaces talking a lot about what also happened in Texas, which is an extreme tragedy. We are all very, very connected to having children in our local communities. So I think it's just important if we can all just take a deep breath. I'll kind of count to 5 or 6 in our heads, take a moment just to reflect on that, and then we'll definitely pick it up and hop right in. So just with me for 5 seconds, please. All right, I appreciate that. I know it's a little bit awkward to do in a remote environment, but continue that, throughout the weekend, reflecting, remembering others, supporting others, having conversations. Sometimes these things are really hard and heavy to deal with, and just opening up to somebody can really make a difference. So with that, making a difference, impact, identity, I'm super excited for this conversation. We focus so much on remote work and what we're focused on doing as professionals, but I know in the back of all of our minds, it's who we are as individuals, and the health and the wellness and the identity of that is really what brings you to the forefront as a professional in every way. So I'm excited to be here for this conversation. I'm excited to learn and absorb from LaPora's experience today. And with that, LaPora, we'll let you do a quick introduction and Maya will get us right in.
All right. So once again, thank you both, Erica and Maya, for the opportunity to be joining you all today. It is much appreciated. I'm honored to be joining you all here. So just a little bit about myself. I guess you could say I'm kind of at the intersection between inspiration, introversion, and coaching. And with all of those mixtures, I kind of consider myself to be a career confidence whisperer, so just kind of just whispering the goodness in order to help encourage people throughout their journey. And so for me, my whole journey and my experience, it kind of started when I first became a military spouse. I had applied for a job opportunity and I was told at that time that I would not be moving on to the next level because they already knew that I was going to PCS, and they were like, well, we're not going to hire you because of that. We get to our next duty station in a completely new country and I hear the same thing. We're not going to hire you, and most likely you don't have the qualifications. And so just consistently hear that, no, it's not going to work. That really caused there were just so many different emotions. I can't even label them all. There were so many different emotions going on throughout that time. But that was when I made the decision that I was going to learn everything that I could about career development, about resume writing, about interviewing, so that not only could I be able to successfully gain employment, but so that I could share that information with other people. And so that's what I do with my business that I started back in September, is career coaching, resume writing, and speaking. But I'm also part-time employed as well with career coaching. And I absolutely enjoy what I do because it's the opportunity to be able to whisper confidence into people to help them throughout their career. And so, yeah, that's about me. That's it.
I love how you've brought all those pieces of you into something that other people can identify with so easily. Like it's a really powerful opportunity. I also interviewed for my first job sitting in a PX food court in front of an Anthony's Pizza and was told the exact same thing. Fresh college graduate, sitting in a food court, and was told, your husband's in flight school. You're not going to be here very long. We're sorry. And that's where my journey began.
Wow. And I love that. I love hearing your story. As someone who is not military connected, I've had the opportunity to learn so much since joining on with Instant Teams last year. And LaPora, actually, to circle back to the intro that you just gave, you spoke about inspiration and confidence and wisdom and kind of meeting at that intersection. And where does that and your journey of self-worth and impact, can you speak on that a little bit? What was that journey like for you? What was that process of identifying that self-worth and that impact when you're hearing things like, oh, you're not going to get the job because you're going to be PCSing soon? And could you just share with us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely was not a linear journey. It was a bit of all shapes and sizes. I don't know what kind of shape you want to call it, and call it anything, but it was not cut and dry. And I think the biggest part for me was that here I had all of these degrees and certifications, and I wasn't even making a minimum wage at that point. And so it was, all right, well, if no one wants to hire me, I must not have anything of value to offer. There's no way that I can make an impact with having this role here where I'm working part-time or I'm a volunteer or whatever the case may be. There was all of these reasons that I had why no one needed to hire me, because I didn't have anything to offer. And then it came to a point, I think it was when we were stationed in Texas. I feel like there's no like one point that I can narrow down, but this is the one that I remember the most. When we were stationed in Texas, and I was working at a nonprofit organization, and a big part of nonprofit is if you want to stay open, you got to get some funding, like some donors, something. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the absolute best job that I can at this job. And I'm not going to necessarily show that I'm valuable, but I'm going to show how I can bring value, because there's a slight difference there. And with doing that, I was able to make an impact there. And then it just kind of continued. And I will say that the one thing about self-worth is that self-worth is intrinsic. It is something that is in us. It's knowing that if you set goals and if you don't reach that goal, your value doesn't change. It's knowing that if people have a higher salary than you, if people are considered to be more beautiful than you, if people are in these social circles that you want to be a part of, and you don't have any of that, you still deserve to take up space. And I think that's what's so important, is that when we are working, we tie a lot of times, of course, in the workplace, we tie that to, well, I need a certain position in order to make improvements, but you don't need that. You need to figure out, because we all have these different skills and talents, and we have to figure out how can we best improve an organization, or how can we best improve a community with the skills and talents that we have, because we can all approach it differently.
Thank you. That is so incredible. And before I get into that a little bit more, Erica, did you have something that you wanted to add in? I think you might be on mute.
Yes, I definitely was. One of the biggest pieces for me was realizing, and it took me a while. I mean, I entered as a spouse like when I was 19, right? So you're still in like this very critical self-development awareness stage anyway, as a young adult. And I think I faulted into the absorbing my label versus my own identity. So you're told you're a military spouse. I was handed a military spouse etiquette handbook by my mother-in-law, who was, you know, a spouse in the 60s and 70s. And that was dangerous, probably not to the community, but it was very, very dangerous to me. And I started to feel like, I don't really like some of these things I'm being told I have to do. And, you know, that it was a lot. And I did it. I went through those motions for probably the first 7 to 8 years. And I started to kind of identify, you know what, this is not making Erica feel like Erica. Like, I don't even know what Erica needs to feel like right now, but this is not it. And so bringing yourself out of that, and I think, again, because I was so young, it was partly just my own brain development as a young adult moving through life. But it was very concretely identifying that a label you fulfill, even in motherhood or fatherhood or any label, your worth is really not connected to that label. And I think there's a default mechanism for some reason where I'm like, oh, I fulfilled this role. This is who I am. It's a part of who you are. It's an adjective that belongs on the top of who you are, but really at the end of the day, it's not who you are. It's a part of how you're demonstrating who you are to the world. So that's hard to work through, but now 20 years later, I can identify that that's kind of the steps I had to go through. And it's made a really big difference.
Incredible. So those are such powerful answers. And LaPora, I wanted to bring it back to something you mentioned about that reframe of seeing the value based on these external factors like salary or title or beauty standards imposed on us by society, et cetera, to really identifying that value inside and asking yourself, how can I bring value? What are some tangible, practical steps that you took to reframe your thinking internally from looking at those outside factors to, I can see the way that I'm bringing value right here, right now, and that's how I'm going to choose to look at things, and that's how I'm going to choose to show up?
So that's a great question, Maya. And one of the first things would be, and this is something that we can all do, is we all have to take a self-inventory. And that is, I mean, let's face it, like we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, and pretending like we don't have weaknesses is not going to get us anywhere anytime soon. So it's important for us to be able to figure out, for my strengths, let me look at the strengths that is not necessarily tied to anything physical. It's not necessarily tied to anything, what I call contingencies, as in, if my Erica, I think you alluded to this, like having that label, if my label is stripped from me, right? If my salary, my position, if all of that is stripped from me, my social community, what do I have left that is a strength? I think that's really important for us to be able to identify that. And then once you have been able to identify what those strengths are, you can then make a list as far as, you know, how do I utilize this strength? And so for me, this wasn't necessarily something that I was writing out. It was something that I was kind of going through. And now looking in hindsight is like, well, maybe I could have wrote this out and that would have been helpful. But it was being able to figure out what is it that when I'm talking to people or when I'm having these conversations, when I'm communicating with people, what are they noticing are some of the strengths and what I have to offer? How am I approaching certain things? And I discovered that one of the things for me was that I have this ability to be able to, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's like a sixth sense, but I feel like it is. I'm very intuitive. And so with that, it's almost like matching and connecting with people, but that also gives me the ability to get a lot of information. And I would take that information and I would find strategic ways to kind of filter it up the chain, so to speak, to let people know that, hey, maybe there are some morale events that we can host, or, you know, maybe there is some different recruitment strategies that we can try, but this was all coming due to the intel. So that was my way to be able to contribute to the different organizations that we were in, but everybody has their own skill. And so being able to identify that, making a note of it, and then figuring out, okay, so where I am now, whether it's in the workplace or in the community, how can I use this strength? And that takes some time sometimes in order to figure out, but it's how can I make myself valuable? You already are, right? That's that self-esteem portion. You are valuable, of course you are, but how can you do it? That's when you go to that self-worth. What is it are you going to offer that's going to be useful to someone else? Because eventually you'll start to see your own worth by offering that to others.
I would say one really tactical thing I did was I hired a life coach. So I love, LaPora, that you said you're a life coach. And that was a moment, like I can pinpoint for you exactly the moment I was like, I'm going to need some help. And that was kind of on the cusp of my entrepreneurship journey. So I've always, again, like identifying, you know, I've always thought a certain way. I've always asked certain questions in certain environments. And like, these aren't things you're taught in school. Like we're at a channel. I'm like, why do I think this way? Like, why do I always see a better way to do something? Like that sounds so judgmental, but really that's just a natural part of who I was. Like you've identified, LaPora, in yourself, that I was like, I want to use these things. I just don't really know how. And, you know, it's not going to work here. And then also that switch of who I had kind of created, who I was up until that point, and who I really wanted to become. And there's a transition there, right? And so that's kind of awkward for people too. When you identify that you want to change and you start those changes, people kind of be like, are you okay? Like what's happening? Sometimes you lose some friendships in that process, and it's okay, right? You're developing and you're changing. But I engaged with a life coach, and I was able to walk through, you also mentioned, LaPora, introversion. I'm very outgoing and I can feel very energized about topics I'm okay with, but I don't like to be put out front, or I used to not like to be put out front. So I had to use tactics and like methodologies to put myself in certain situations and know how to recoup from that, and then do it again repeatedly, depending on where I was. And that builds your self-worth, right? Because then I had true identification of how I processed who I was, what I wanted to do, and how to get there. So it was a really powerful moment for me, just kind of that reshaping.
Great. I love those answers. Thank you so much. You know, LaPora, you spoke about that self-inventory piece, which is so important, and just having that awareness of what our strengths and what our weaknesses are, and really being honest with ourselves. Sometimes I think that's very difficult, to take an honest look at where we're excelling and where we need help. And then Erica, you spoke about that outside help piece. So whether it's hiring a life coach, whether you have a community of people who are around you who can give you good feedback, whether it's friends or family members, church members, etc., just getting that impact so that you can grow. So important, you know. And you talked about, LaPora, that, and you've touched on it a bit, that self-confidence, that self-esteem bit. So once you identify those strengths and weaknesses, and you can say, okay, this is where I excel, this is where I can work on, how do you then go about developing that internal confidence to then act on that and start showing up in those ways that you can see are your strengths? Because I think that's a lot of times where we get stuck, we know what we need to do, but then there's that voice that's like, oh no, but don't do it. I don't want to be embarrassed. Like, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to say the wrong thing. So what was that process for you in actually developing that confidence so you could act on that?
Oh, great question. I think it boils down to when we kind of identify what we have going on, and it's like, well, how can I put this out there? If we can get in a mindset of usefulness, it will change the game. And what I mean by that is because self-worth, even though it's about self, it's almost a selfless act when you start to get the hang of it. Because when we have low self-worth, it's, oh my gosh, I don't have anything to offer. I don't have any value. There's nothing that I can really do. But when I identify that, you know what, no, there are some things that I'm lacking, absolutely. But I have identified this certain set of skills, of this certain set of attributes that I can offer someone that is going to benefit them. It changes, because then the focus is no longer on me and what I can't do. Now the focus is on, all right, yeah, there's some things that I struggle with, but this is what I can offer. And there is some potential impact that can be made here. So it almost goes from like this, we go into the state of like self-rejection of nope, not going to do it. There's so many reasons why I can't, but why can you, right? Why can you do it? And just being able to figure that out. I think about I volunteered, actually. It was at one particular organization, and they didn't want to hire me. And I was like, well, I'll still stick around a little bit and see if I can, make a difference. But I did. I stuck around and I figured out, you know what, the value that I bring is not the value that I necessarily wanted to bring, but I was able to help improve the programs. I was helped to improve the training from the insight that I was providing. And I think that that's what is so important, is that not all of the time is what we're doing going to be exactly what we want to share, but sometimes that's the key in order to help improve that. And so for me, it was kind of accepting that this is not really what I want to do, but at the same time, this is a strength that I have, and this is something that I can offer that can help improve the overall ecosystem, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, and I think I just add putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to figure that out, right? I mean, I tried things, I was put in positions where I'm like, this is really what I want to do, but I'm like, that's not how I wanted it to go. And then you learn from it and you try it again. And I think that's where that repetition of practice, right? Failing forward. I think we always talk about that in like business concepts, right? Like try something new, let it fail, fix it, build it again. But you can totally apply that same mechanism to yourself. And, if you're like, wonder if I like salsa dancing, go try it one time. It's like not a risk to your life. Well, I don't know, maybe it is depending on how good you are, but try new things, put yourself in situations. And I think that is an inherent part of being a part of the military community, is we do have a lot of exposure to different opportunities and culture and people where we have to put ourselves in those situations, and we learn and we get little pieces of that do become our self-worth and identity over time. And that's powerful. And that's something I always encourage people who, military connected or not, when you have the opportunity to travel or move and meet other people and put yourself in situations that you're not the expert of, you assess and realign internally very quickly. I really like this feeling, like I want to do this more, or nope, this isn't quite right for me. I'm going to try something different next time. So just not being afraid to put yourself out there and feel uncomfortable.
Incredible, such powerful answers. So I just wanted to go back to LaPora. You said having that mindset of usefulness, and I even heard like, how can I be of service? So really becoming curious about how can I serve the other? How can I serve this organization, this place, this family, this community that I'm in, and taking that attention off of the self and putting it on the other is a huge part of that confidence building. And then Erica, you spoke about putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. And I think we've all seen that meme flying around where it's that circle and it's like, this is you inside of the circle. Circle is your comfort zone, and outside of the circle is where the magic happens. So really consistently putting yourself outside and of what you believe you can do and of what's comfortable. And before I open up the chat to questions, I wanted to link back what you just said about putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to LaPora. You do a lot of work around rejection and really leaning into rejection and seeing the lessons in rejection. Can you just speak on that a little bit and how that has really helped you to make it to where you are right now? And then we're gonna go ahead and open up the chat.
Absolutely. So it should come as no surprise that I'm very familiar with rejection. So, as a military spouse, I mean, it's just part of the game. I have been, I placed my identity initially in my career. And so with getting those constant rejections, it was a huge, like, when I decided to be eye-opened by it, it was a huge eye opener. Because rejection is one of the few emotions that there is an emotion tied to it, but there's also a physiological effect that happens in our body. Like, you think about when people describe rejection, it's, oh my gosh, I feel like I just got slapped in the face, or I feel like I just got punched in the chest. Like, we don't tend to say that, like, I'm happy. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm floating in the air. Like, people don't really, we don't really correlate it that way. But it's because rejection gives us so much information about why we are feeling those feelings, why we are feeling rejected. Any emotion that has the ability to do that is an amazing emotion because it's causing us to feel things. And so with that, I found that when I started allowing myself to feel it instead of suppressing it, which only just creates a huger amount of suppression. But when I started allowing myself to feel it, I started finding my own solutions. So for instance, for me, rejections is about not being a part of a community. It's not being a part of a family unit in a way. And Maya and Erica, if we were all rejected in the same way, we would all have our own storyline of why we feel so terrible about that rejection. But knowing that for me, it's about community, it's about having a connection. I know that I need to work towards building that connection with other people, with groups of people, and not just single one-on-ones, but finding clubs and finding affiliations to be a part of. And that is something that could also, that's where my strength lies, is in being a part of that. But I get that information because I'm leaning into the rejection. I'm just like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like nobody, you know what I mean? All of these different things. And then I'm able to find the solutions because instead of avoiding it, I'm addressing it. Because avoiding it, all it does is just extend the process. Like, if we just go through the rejection, we can address it head on, versus now we're taking several months because we don't want to be rejected. And now we've just extended our time by a year when we could have been done 6 months ago had we just faced the rejection and learned from it, and using it as a wisdom tool and as a tool of patience versus, oh, I'm good, I think I'll figure it out and be perfect every time. It just takes too long that way.
So true. So beautifully put. And leaning into the rejection, becoming curious about why we're even having that emotional response. And I saw Marina say in the chat, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So crucial and such an important part. I'm starting to put myself in the habit of, okay, did I feel like I failed enough today? And I'll ask myself that as a personal inventory. And if the answer is no, I'm like, I need to go out and talk to more people or try something else, because I want to every day feel like, oh, I kind of messed that up. Because to me, I'm trying new things. I'm growing if I put myself out there and it didn't work out. So you all, in this last moment here, if you have any questions right now, we are coming right up on time. Please go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm also going to, I saw Jason inviting yourself to be curious and accepting 100%. I'm going to drop this survey in the chat. We do these lunch and learns as a benefit to you, our community. So we'd love your feedback. If you could even take a minute right now to just fill out this survey, let us know what you thought about the conversation. Let us know what you would like to see coming up. We make these for you. So your impact or the impact that you're having from these, we want to know about it. And Ariel is saying, this is such good advice. I used to dwell on my rejections. Totally. I feel like we've all been there before. And we're not alone in that. We're not alone on not feeling good when we mess something up. So I think we can build community around that for sure, that it's okay. It's okay. And any last words or any last thoughts, any questions before we wrap up? Anyone?
I feel like we could have kept going. Like, this is a great conversation. So LaPora, we'd love to have you back as a repeat guest in the future, new topic. Just appreciate your time on a Friday afternoon for sure.
Thank you both. I appreciate it, Maya. Thank you, Erica, for the opportunity.
It's so good. Thank you so much, LaPora, for being on with us. These were incredible insights. Thank you everyone for joining. And next Lunch and Learn will be next month. Stay tuned in Slack for more info, and we'll see you then.
Great work, Maya. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.